topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from top local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to experts in family law, association law, hearing loss, business brokers, home care, along with many other topics. Now here are your hosts, Steve-O and Sophia.
And Steve-O is in Florida, and he is experiencing severe bad weather. So we're going to take the show where we can take it until Steve joins us back. Today's expert, here's Steve.
We just had this major thunder that went off, and all of a sudden I was going, good morning, everybody in Atlanta. Welcome to another Ask the Expert show, where we bring you the finest experts in not just the Atlanta area, but now the entire state of Georgia. This is one of our favorite shows. This is our long-running expert for the state of Georgia. He's also in some of our other markets. We talk about functional medicine, weight loss, probably one of the finest MDs, I think, in the state of Georgia. Let me welcome you to Dr. Eldred Taylor. Good morning, Dr. Taylor.
Hey, good morning. Hey, you be careful out there. It sounds like you're having some bad weather.
It's bad out here. It's a shame you're not a meteorologist, that you're just an MD. I got to tell people, if you're just listening on radio, I'm not going to say Dr. Taylor actually started off with us as anti-aging, but he just does so much more. But I got to tell you that Dr. Taylor, I'm not going to mention your age, but he looks so good for his age. And when he told me his age, I couldn't believe it. So he really does practice what he preaches. Mm-hmm. And today we're going to be talking about erectile dysfunction. And but first, because we're getting so many new people every week joining the show, Dr. Taylor, tell everybody about your practice. And you've got such an interesting background.
Hey, the only reason why I don't say my age is that my wife, she gets mad at me when I tell my age, because she's like, don't tell them your age, because then they'll figure out how old I am. So I can't say it. So she might be listening. But anyway,
very smart wife.
Yeah. So speaking of my wife and I, we practice together. I'm originally trained as an obstetrician gynecologist. Went to Emory University here in Atlanta and did my residency here. My wife, we met in medical school, and she was trained in psychiatry and family practice. But we practiced, like always, for about 15 years. But the last 15 years or so, we have been practicing what we call functional medicine. And how I moved from OBGYN into this is that I got really interested in bioidentical hormones. We were taught to give birth control pills and Premarin to women and never test for hormones. We just kind of guessed. And so I got interested in testing hormones, and I talked on other podcasts previously about the way to test for hormones is through saliva and not through the blood. And got interested in using saliva testing to help balance hormones in both women and men. And after I kind of found a new way to handle hormones, I started looking at other more natural or holistic ways to handle other issues. And we're going to talk about erectile dysfunction now, but also talking about how to help heal the gut, how to help people have more energy by looking at cortisol and cortisol patterns, how to help people get through cancer therapies by using IV vitamin C and other nutritional supplements. And then also recently really got interested in peptides and how peptides can help the body function better. So functional medicine is just talking about how do we help the body function as well as it can for as long as it can. And so I like that a little bit more than anti-aging because, as we age, we expect not to function as well. So we're not really, you just don't, we're going to age. I can't, my age is my age. I just want to be able to function well at any age. So that's the kind of different in nomenclature that we use.
One of the first things that really turned me on to you, Dr. Taylor, is I always think about the person who walks in. I'm just going to use GNC because everybody knows GNC. And you walk in and you say, I want to lose weight. And they go, okay, here's a pill. Yeah. Or here's 30 different pills.
Yeah.
What you do different.
Yeah.
You actually find out what is causing the weight loss first.
Yeah.
So you know what to give them in your bag of arsenal.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I mean, most of the time when a patient comes to me, they've already tried all the diets, the intermittent fasting. They've tried it all. That's, they're not going to come to me, first. These are people who are really trying to do what's right and nothing's happening. So then we look for issues that could be hindering that. And I always say that you can't diet and exercise your way past a hormone problem. If you have a female hormone problem with estrogen, progesterone, or low testosterone, or low or high cortisol, I don't care what you do, you're not going to be able to effectively lose weight. If you have a gut issue, it can cause a problem with weight loss. If you have a food sensitivity issue, because if you have food sensitivities, you have inflammation, and inflammation causes weight gain. So there can be several reasons why you're having trouble losing weight. And so, that's important. So, I usually don't prescribe a diet or whatever. I'm like, I know you tried all the diets. So let's figure out what is kind of blocking that weight loss from happening. And so, and that's very important. It can be very helpful.
And I guess since we're talking about ED today, you same way practice. You're not going to just, and maybe it does take a pill, but you're going to find out what the cause is first.
Yeah. Yeah. So, with erectile dysfunction, there's, and I also want to talk about women who have low libido, because when you're talking about a marriage, sex is important. I don't care at any age. And you need to understand what drives one person and what drives someone else. So when we're talking about erectile dysfunction, there's three things. There's hormones, and in men, testosterone is important for sexual desire, wanting to have sex. Men, libido and testosterone is very closely tied in men. So if a man says he doesn't have much sexual desire, that's a testosterone problem until proven otherwise. Now, erectile dysfunction is a mechanical issue. You can want to have sex, but if the mechanics are screwed up, you're still not going to have an erection. So I see a lot of guys who say they have erectile dysfunction and they're on testosterone and it doesn't do a thing for them. So the other two issues are you have to have blood flow. And that's what Viagra and Cialis does. They increase blood flow. They increase something called nitric oxide to open up blood vessels so more blood can go into the penis. Now, the other part of it is the nervous system, because that blood vessel has smooth muscle around it that's innervated by these nerves. And it's really there's two types of nerves. There's a sympathetic nervous system, which is your fight or flight. And then there's a parasympathetic, that's the rest and digest. And the rest and digest, or the parasympathetic nervous system, is what relaxes those smooth muscles around the vessels to allow them to open up. So that's why there's three components. So you have to want to have sex. You have to have good blood flow, or open vessels. That's why I should say open vessels that don't have a lot of plaque in it. And then you also have to have a relaxed nervous system. That's why men have performance anxiety. They're a lot of times if they have one episode of ED, they get so nervous about it.
Right.
Actually creating a self-fulfilling prophecy, because now their sympathetic nervous system is suppressing that parasympathetic that allows the vessel to relax and let blood flow in it. So you need to have all of those components. So testosterone is one thing. So now to have a clean blood vessel, things like diabetes and hypertension really can increase plaque accumulation and block that open pipe, kind of having sludge in your pipe. So a lot of, and then the treatment for that, antihypertensives, what that does is that causes you not to have high pressure in vessels. Well, to have an erection, you need to have high pressure. You need to have that pressure to cause an erection. So a lot of men who are on antihypertensives, they end up developing erectile dysfunction. Mm-hmm. So you got to do something about the medication, and the best way to, one of the ways to treat that is to lose weight, because a lot of times as you gain weight, you end up having hypertension. And so, right. So you lose weight, you can get off the antihypertensives, then that allows you to build pressure in that penile artery so that you can have an erection. Now, also what's very damaging to blood vessels is diabetes. Diabetes causes constriction of those blood vessels. That's why you get decreased blood flow to your extremities and can cause gangrene and necrosis. And actually, that's why diabetics have to have amputations, because it actually constricts blood flow. So those are two things that can definitely cause erectile dysfunction. But then there's a third thing. When we talk about that parasympathetic nervous system, there's a peptide called PT141, and it's another name for it is called bremelanotide. And what that does is that stimulates that parasympathetic nervous system so that those smooth muscles can relax more. And it's a very effective treatment for mild to moderate erectile dysfunction. And the great thing about it, it's a injection that you give yourself, and you don't give it to yourself in the penis. You actually just take some fat, on your abdomen or whatever. You give yourself the injection at least 4 to 6 hours before you are planning on having any sexual activity. But the great thing about it is that it lasts up to 72 hours. So theoretically, if the weekend is the time that you and your partner have an injection on Friday morning, by Friday night it's taking effect, and it's usually effective for Saturday and Sunday. If a midweek rendezvous is what you're expecting, you do it on Monday or Tuesday, you're good for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and now you can start all over again. So that's very effective for mild to moderate. Another treatment there is, and I think a lot of people do it down in Florida. I was doing it I've been doing it up here for probably 5 or 6 years, is using sound wave therapy. It's called acoustic shock wave therapy, where you use sound waves on the penis, and it actually increases that nitric oxide, and it breaks up plaque, and also causes the stimulation of new blood vessels to go into the penis. And that's more expensive. That's usually like $500 a treatment, and most people need 3 to 6 treatments. So that's a more severe case when Viagra and the PT141 doesn't work. And then the final one treatment is something called a P shot. I don't know. Have you ever heard of that, Steve?
I have, actually.
Yeah.
The pellets?
No. This is what they call a P shot.
Okay. Explain that.
Means that this is when there's definite vascular damage. These are people who have bad diabetes, hypertension, where there's actually destruction of the blood vessels. Is just serious cases. This is much more expensive. So a P shot, what you do is you take PRP, or stem cells, and you actually inject them into the penis. And what those stem cells and PRP does is actually regrows new penile tissue. So that's what I'm saying. That's a severe case where, most of the time these are guys with longstanding ED that nothing else has worked. They have diabetes, hypertension, where there's actually severe damage to the blood vessels. So the P shot is there to actually stimulate new tissue growth, new blood vessel growth, new tissue growth. And that usually takes about 60 to 90 days to really take effect. And that costs about $1,500 to $2,000. So, and then you
How long does
usually
it
use the,
last?
yeah, and you usually use the acoustic shockwave therapy before, because what you're trying to do is bring blood flow there so that these new stem cells have some blood flow so that they can be nourished and, kind of grow out of their infancy state. So that's the wide range of issue. Oh, let me tell you another very
That
effective
sounds like the last resort. Is that
that
right?
is the last resort. Yeah, that's the
Okay.
last resort. That is not the first treatment. No, not at all. But let me tell you what could be a first resort. And I actually skipped over this one, is a plant-based diet. It's been shown that a plant-based diet can help treat erectile dysfunction. I told this story to you a few months ago, where a guy
Yes.
who had erectile dysfunction for 7 years. This guy is he's in his late 60s or early 70s. So I sent out an email talking about erectile dysfunction and plant-based diet. So he and his wife said, "What the heck? Let's give it a try. It's good for our health. It can't hurt." He's had erectile dysfunction for 7 years. Anyway, so the wife calls me because now she's ready to restart her bioidentical hormones, because all of a sudden her husband can have an erection again. And this
Right.
guy's he's trying to make up for 7 years of not having sex. And she's like, "Hey, I need some help." So yeah, there's several studies looking at plant-based diets and it helping with erectile dysfunction, probably because it's helping with hypertension and diabetes, uh, or pre-diabetes. So not really knowing what the actual function is, why it helps, but a plant-based diet has been shown to help erectile dysfunction. So that's a all-around health improvement that also helps with that. And that's probably
And you're very much into plant-based
yeah.
diets. How much has that changed your life, Dr. Taylor?
Oh, a lot. That's probably why you're talking about I look younger, because we've been together. We've been doing this for a little over 2 years, and oh yeah, it helps with me maintaining my weight. It helps me with my gut function. It helps me. I mean, it really saves me money. I mean, I'll tell you, you know, meat is very expensive. And I'm going to tell you, I hardly ever go out because it's so much easier to cook my food at home than it is to try and find something that's
Right.
suitable on a menu. And when you go out, you just never know what you're eating. So I think it's helped my skin. It's helped all of it. And I don't even have a desire to eat meat. It's not like I'm saying, "Oh my God, I can't have a piece of chicken." It's like I don't even want chicken. I'll tell you, I went to the farmer's market and I passed by the meat section, and now when I look at chicken and that chicken juice and stuff, it's just I have to hurry up and walk by it.
And your wife's the same way.
Yeah, my wife's the same way, and my daughter is
Your
probably
daughter's
80% that. She actually got us started on it, but see, she's young, so she goes out with her friends every once in a while, and she might have a taco or something with some beef. So she's young, she can handle it. I'm older. I'm trying to do everything I can to keep functioning.
we promote your shows about a week out, and we knew you were going to do that show on plant-based diets.
Yeah,
And I was shocked, Dr. Taylor. We have to do more shows like that. It was our highest number
yeah,
of viewers ever of
yeah.
all of our shows, which
Wow.
blew me away
Yeah,
because you kind of talked me into it. The only problem I see is there's a lot of that you don't know what it's going to taste like, and you're starving. You go plant-based or a burger. It makes it.
yeah,
My hat's off to you and your wife. I mean,
yeah.
that had to be hard at first.
Yeah, it is. And we've just learned to prepare. Like on the weekends, we do a lot of cooking, and we prepare for the week. Because you're right, you come home from the office or whatever, you're just trying to eat something. So
Yes.
we usually the weekend we're empty nesters now, so we have to kind of find something to occupy our time and do things together. So we'll usually cook over the weekend, different things that we can have easily during the week. We always take our lunch to the office, so we make plenty of food so that we can take it to the office and come home. And I'll tell you another thing I do is Martha Stewart, and there's all kinds of these food prep things. So Martha Stewart,
Right.
and I'm not getting paid by Martha Stewart, of course, but it's called Marley Spoon, and they have vegetarian, vegan, where they send you all the ingredients and you just make it and cook it or whatever. And cooking is kind of my relaxation after I come from the office. My wife goes and does what she wants to do, look at TV or whatever, and I'll go in and I'll cook dinner based on this Marley Spoon ingredients and menu. And that's my way to relax. And we have some kind of vegetarian, vegan type meal, and we enjoy it. So yeah, I'm a plant-based advocate.
Do you think that eating plant-based foods, because your practice also deals a lot in stress, and I guess stress could help ED, someone who's stressed out. There's a lot of things, gaining weight. What about plant-based? Have you seen where maybe you have less stress going to a plant-based diet?
Well, I know, all of the meats and things that, if there's a YouTube video or whatever called Eating Ourselves into Extinction. If you look at how they grow and slaughter and process meats and all these chemicals and stuff in it, see, we're thinking about emotional stress, but the stress on your body trying to detoxify and clear out all of the junk that's in the food, that's a real stressor. And that stressor, like I said, your body is in a sympathetic mode when it's trying to deal with all of that. And so now you're stimulating that sympathetic nervous system. The parasympathetic nervous system is getting suppressed. So it doesn't have to be emotional stress. It can be physical stress of having a toxic diet. And that's probably why a plant-based diet works, because you're detoxifying your body at the same time. Now, I'm going to tell you, I've gotten so into it that this year, my wife and I, this is our first year really, really learning how to have a garden where we can actually use the food from our garden to actually promote our plant-based diet. I got peppers, I got cucumbers coming out the wazoo. And before I did this show, I just planted my peach tree. I've been doing this for like 2 or 3 days, getting the soil right and everything. So that's kind of my hobby. Me and my wife, we plant our garden. She's into flowers and all that. So, it's really fun. It's relaxing. You're talking about decreasing stress. You start out with a plant-based diet and then you end up like, well, I don't even trust the fruits and vegetables I'm getting, so let me grow my own garden. And so it's a lifestyle change, and we're enjoying it.
We're getting so many texts right now. People going, when are you going to do your plant-based diet show?
Yeah, okay.
Maybe we'll do our next show on a plant-based diet.
Yeah, and just how to get started, and how do you substitute?
Maybe we can even get your daughter involved.
Yeah, on a Wednesday she can do it. So
okay,
we can talk about it. Yeah,
perfect.
Yeah.
Give everybody your phone number. We're getting late on time, but give everybody your phone number.
Okay. The phone number is 678-443-4000, 678-443-4000, and the website is taylormedicalgroup.net. So just make sure you put the net.
Make sure you do the .net.
Yeah,
Dr. Taylor, we love you, bro.
Thanks a lot.
I promise you, we'll set something up for plant-based, because Dr. Taylor is so good at it. Yeah. And we'll be promoting that show when it's coming up. Thanks, Dr. Taylor.
Okay. All right. See you. Be safe down there.
Thank you. We're going to go to a quick break. When we come back, we have our next expert one of my favorites. We're going to be talking about stop snoring. We'll be right back.
And we are back with the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV with your hosts, Steve-O, Sophia, and their expert guests.
And we are back. I hope we don't have any more weather problems like we had before. We got several times we got this major thunder just knocked us off the air, but we're back. And, this next segment of our show, this is the Ask the Expert show. We're here in Atlanta, Georgia. Actually, we cover the whole state now of Georgia. This next expert has done some of the most amazing things for me personally, because I'm a snorer. I've got sleep apnea, and I will be sharing the success that I'm having with her program. So if you snore, if you have, hey, maybe your husband snores, or maybe your wife snores, or maybe your parents snore, you don't want to miss today's show. And if you do miss part of it, you can always go back and look at it. Let me welcome our expert, my expert in stop snoring, Janet Bennett. Hello, Janet.
Hello. Thanks for having me on today.
I felt like we just did this yesterday.
I know.
We were, yesterday we did our Los Angeles show yesterday, and
Right.
I want to promote starting next Tuesday, we open up in Chicago. All you people who've been asking us to bring a show to Chicago, we're going to be doing that starting next Tuesday. We're really excited about it. Janet has actually been working with me besides all of her patients. But let Janet tell you, because it is the most amazing story that I relate to, how she got started, because she is really actually a speech therapist. And I think by accident, you got involved in the snoring. Tell everybody your story, Janet.
That's right. Okay, I will. So I am a speech pathologist, and I've been a speech pathologist for many years. And one day back in 2003, I was treating a 14-year-old football player for a lisp and for tongue thrust. I don't know if the readers or listeners know what a tongue thrust is, but it's when you swallow
Probably not.
incorrectly. Yeah, you swallow incorrectly with the tongue pushing the back of your teeth and maybe have buck teeth. But anyway, that's what I was treating him for. Now, because he had a tongue thrust, it forced him to breathe through his mouth. So that's how it's connected with sleep, with snoring. Before I talk about him, let me complete this little timeline here. So you start breathing through your mouth, and then you start snoring. And then if you snore long enough and loud enough, it can lead to sleep apnea, which is the dangerous part, because it makes you stop breathing while you're sleeping. And so it can really damage your heart. So we back all the way up to the beginning. And if we stop someone from mouth breathing, then hopefully that will help take care of all those other things that could come down the pipe. So I was treating Adam, the 14-year-old football player. He had done 3 weeks of tongue exercises from my lessons, and his mother came in and she said, "Janet, what are you doing to Adam?" And I said, "I don't know. What do you mean?" And she said, "Well, he's always been the loudest snorer in the world. He rattles the windows at our house." She said, "And now he's not making a sound." So that was it. I knew nothing about snoring. So I turned to Adam and I said, "Tell me what's going on." And he said, "Well, I'm doing better in school. I'm able to concentrate better." See, he was learning how to breathe through his nose. So he said, "I can concentrate better, and I run faster." And that's what really got my attention. I didn't know anything about snoring, but I know that if you're running, you want to run faster probably. And so I got on the computer and I knew that I was going to find that tongue exercises were used to stop snoring. but I didn't. That wasn't anywhere in Google, tongue exercises. That was just ridiculous. So what I did find is they give you a CPAP machine, which back then, that was a long time ago, it was big and bundlesome, and people couldn't get used to the mask on the mouth, and I believe at that time only 4% of people who had a CPAP were using it. 4%. So what happened to all?
I never knew that.
You see, those 96 left anyway. So another thing they would do is cut off part of your uvula, which is that thing that hangs down in the back, thinking that it's getting in the way of whatever, and that didn't work. None of these things showed any success. Or they'll break your jaw, maybe pull it forward so your airway gets bigger, and that just makes more room for your whole tongue to go down, as far as I'm concerned. But anyway, so I was very intrigued, and I'd seen what had happened to Adam, and these are just simple tongue exercises over a course of 3 weeks. So I decided I needed to save the world, and I've not been. I'm so passionate about it. I've not been the same since that day. I really believe that this is my calling, and I'm supposed to save everybody. So I looked for a lot of people to try this program because I wanted it to be able to be replicated. And so I found 86 people all over the United States, and they agreed to help and be my guinea pigs and see if these exercises would help them. And when all was said and done, 94% of those 86 people stopped snoring, which was, I couldn't have asked
Amazing.
for anything better. It really was amazing. And they were all glad.
Were any of them on a CPAP that you tested?
Yes, 11 of them were on a CPAP. And of course, okay. I would never tell anybody to not wear CPAP.
You don't do that. No, you don't.
No. But these people chose to do it probably after 4 or 5 weeks of exercises. They chose, like, they would go one night without it and see what happened. But in the end, three of those 11 went off of their CPAP machine. So that was big too. So anyway, whenever somebody says that they are snoring, well, no, that doesn't happen, does it, Steve? Usually it's the significant other who says that they're snoring, because that's like a social stigma. But I mean, it's just air going back and forth in your mouth making a noise. So we can call it mouth breathing. So I want the listeners and the readers to know that really what we're talking about is to stop mouth breathing, because that will automatically stop your snoring. So if anybody's out there thinking, how in the world can I stop snoring? Go to bed tonight and be determined to not let your lips open up. You need exercises, but who knows? You know, I've met some people who really didn't need much muscle exercise, but they just didn't know where to put their tongue or lips or anything. So you can start with that. But my program is 7 weeks long. So once a week you do new tongue exercises, and it's online, because remember, I was going to save the world. So it is available online for a very inexpensive cost. And the great thing is, this is relatively new since COVID. I have made a video where I am training an adult male how to do these exercises. 7 lessons. And so all you do is you click on lesson 1, and you can see me doing the 3 exercises on lesson 1. And then you have to commit to yourself to practice them twice a day. So then I have another video. You can come and click on lesson 1, and I'll be sitting there at my desk waiting for you to come. I will do the exercises, and all you do is copy me. Now, guys, it can't get any easier, okay? And the exercises don't hurt. They don't take long to do, 15, 20 minutes. Anyway.
So Janet, let's share with them that I'm doing your exercises. And when
Right.
Janet said the program is 7 weeks long, I want people to know everybody is different. Mine, I actually start seeing results after 2 weeks. I start, and the way I saw results were I literally took my CPAP machine off. And listen, when a person has sleep apnea like I do, you hear yourself snoring. That's what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to wake you up because you literally stop snoring. And I got to tell you, I started doing Janet's exercises. Well, I'm going to speed up the story because I like it when Janet talks better. But the other night, I took my CPAP machine off and I turned my recorder on my cell phone. I did not snore one time. And I'm one of those people who tried everything, the strips on the nose, the apparatus from a dentist. I tried everything and nothing worked. And it was the
Yay.
most frustrating thing. And what's great about Jan's program is some of the things you need to see her do so she can show you how to do it. Some of the tongue exercises.
Right.
But once you've done it right one time, you're going to do it right. But here's the thing, I know what it's like to be a snorer. And some of you don't want to admit it because you think it's taboo, but it's a health condition. And
Right.
Janet's got a way that can change that. It's like smoking. You just have to want to do it.
Right. So I want to add with this program, it's called correctmytonguethrust.com. You can go there and check it all out. There are a lot of videos, a lot of educational stuff on there for you to read. But with the purchase of the program, you can contact me, email, phone, and we'll set up a 45-minute conference for free. I've decided I want to work with people. You buy my program. I did not increase the cost of it for that conference to be included, but it's fun for me, and it helps everyone who meets with me for a few minutes just to give them confidence that they're in the right place. And if I were to meet with someone and really truly did not believe that they needed the program, or maybe I didn't feel like they could or would, I would say that. Because there's no reason for me to not be honest about that. So yeah, it's pretty exciting. So what I want to
That's
do is
one of the
tell
things
you.
I love about you, Janet. You've never told me you're going to get it to where I don't have to use my CPAP machine. You have never been dishonest with me. You just happen to have a program that's worked with for 94% of the people, and
Right.
then it's up to them.
Right.
And then it doesn't matter where you live either. That we're getting a lot of, like here, we're getting calls from northern Georgia. We got 3 calls from Chicago, which is the reason why we're going to open up in Chicago.
Okay.
But you can do it from anywhere.
Right.
By Zoom.
Right. So let me explain. I want you to think about what we're saying with this online program because it is so simple. There are 2 major goals of this treatment. I'm sure you're wondering about that. The first major goal is that you are going to learn how to breathe through your nose. Our body makes a gas called nitric oxide, and it's made in our sinus area. When we breathe through our mouth, we get dirty, cold air in, which does not help anything in our body. When we breathe through our nose, we get warm, clean air in. This nitric oxide I was talking about, every organ in your body needs it. It regulates oxygen, blood flow, all kinds of things. I'm not a doctor, but you can Google that. Nitric oxide is needed. When you breathe through your mouth, you cannot get access to this nitric oxide because it's up here in the sinus area. So think about it when you go to sleep. If you're snoring, breathing through your mouth, your body, no wonder you wake up tired and maybe fuzzy
Exactly.
or like, ugh, what's happening? It's because you didn't get rejuvenated. So it's super important. So that's one major goal. You will learn how to keep your lips closed night and day, unless you're talking or eating. The other major goal is that you will train your tongue to live on the roof of your mouth. Now, the roof of the mouth is a smaller, a skinnier area than the bottom part of your mouth. Most people who mouth breathe have their tongue that lays on the bottom. And normally that tongue, when you stick it out, it's really wide. It's not had boundaries like those of us who breathe through our nose. Our tongue is more toned and it knows where it has to stay inside the mouth because our lips are closed. But if your lips are open,
Right.
your tongue is allowed to spread out more. So, in order to make a difference with the size of the tongue, I have invented a special tool called a tongue stick. And we use that to uh, stimulate the muscles, certain special muscles in the tongue that would help make it skinnier. And that's because whenever you stimulate it, the muscles do like this. And so that makes sense that the tongue would get skinnier. And the tongue has muscle memory. So it's not like it goes back the next day, it stays that size. And so that helps your tongue fit on the roof of your mouth better. It's very easy. Some of the exercises are weird, I agree, but you don't have to do them in public and they don't take long to do. Yeah, so you'll start breathing through your nose and your tongue will live on the roof of your mouth. Now, some people, I just want to point this out, some people listening or reading, you know that you snore, but you may not have any idea what other problems are occurring in your body because of the mouth breathing. And I want to just share a few of those. Um, and I'll do it by asking you questions. Do you wake up with a dry mouth? That's going to happen if you're mouth breathing. And some mouth breathers tell me they don't breathe through their mouth, but when they tell me they wake up with a dry mouth, then I know they do breathe through their mouth.
You know they did.
Right. And, it's okay. And a lot of people don't realize it. You get in the habit of something, don't think about it. The other thing is waking up tired. Do you wake up tired in the morning? If you're in bed for 7 or 8 hours, you shouldn't be waking up tired. It's just because your body didn't get that nitric oxide, and also your body is not allowed to get into REM sleep. Now, we all know how important that is, and if you don't, Google that too and learn about it. Learn why you should do that. You've got to have a reason to stop breathing through your mouth because it's just going to keep making you sick and sicker. And if your children do this, you don't want them to grow up to be adult mouth breathers. They can do the same exercises. You could literally treat your entire family with one online program. I just thought about that. You can do that. It can be a family affair. It happens a lot. It's not unusual. So some other quick questions. How are we doing here? Okay. Daytime sleepiness is another dead giveaway. Why would you get sleepy during the daytime if you slept well at night?
Right.
So that's one of the number one
That was my problem.
Yep. One of the number one symptoms of snoring, of mouth breathing. I just treated a 12-year-old girl who every day when mom picked her up at school, she fell asleep in the car every day. And after, I think, 5 of my lessons, she wasn't falling asleep in the car anymore. So it's fun to watch these different bad symptoms go away, get better. Some more.
Janet, I think there's a lot of automobile accidents that happen. It was due to people falling asleep.
That's right.
Wheel, even during the day.
Absolutely. And truck drivers, think about that.
Oh,
They all
yeah.
need this program. So if y'all know of anybody, I think everybody knows at least one person who snores. At least one. Even
And
if it's your neighbor's cousin.
Partner.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So you need to share this with them. It's certainly worth their while. I know some children wake up really irritable. And so if your child is like that, watch them when they sleep. And when a person is mouth breathing when they sleep, some people think they have to have their mouth wide open. You don't. You can have just a little opening in your lips, and that takes over your breathing. You won't breathe through your nose, you'll breathe through that opening. So watch very carefully. See
And
what
you're
you can
really
find
right
out.
about the dry mouth, Janet, because I
Right.
noticed that before I had dry mouth a lot.
Right.
But you're sleeping, you don't know your mouth's open.
Right.
So you
And
wondered what
sometimes
caused it. So
I
my
know.
mouth is so dry.
Right. And some people will tell me, no, my mouth's not dry when I get up. Then they'll add in, thank goodness, because I drank a gallon of water during the night. So I
Yes.
know that they did have a dry mouth, but so then after they do the lessons, they don't have to drink a gallon of water. That's what I'm saying. I want to share one thing that I believe is my most important thing that I would like for doctors to know about mouth breathing. I have never met anyone who told me that their doctor, their PCP or whoever, asked them if they breathe through their mouth or their nose. They meet the person, they do their exam, whatever, and find out they've got this problem, that problem, just different problems. And so they'll send them out to different drugs or different other associates who specialize in those problems. When if they would just ask if they mouth breathe first, it would be great to get their patient nasal breathing, and then they come back to you, and then you evaluate them and see what problems are left over. But that's just what I think. Another big thing that can happen is a lot of people complain about having something, feels like it gets stuck in their throat. And these people usually are referred to an otolaryngologist or an ENT doctor. And they put that little thing down your nose and they go in and they look at your vocal cords and they don't see anything. They don't see anything in there. And the vocal cords are working and so they tell the person, we don't see anything, and they call that globus sensation. And it's as if you have a feeling that something's there, but it probably really isn't there. And I believe that they used to send those people to psychiatrists. Okay? You get where I'm going with this? They thought the person
Yes.
was crazy. Okay, so I can get rid of that feeling. What is happening is, because you're a mouth breather, you have a weak swallow. So here comes something else that's huge in our lives. How do we swallow? And when you swallow, if your tongue doesn't kick off from the right place in your mouth, you have a very weak swallow. So when you're swallowing cornbread, especially, it's weak. And so it's easy for a little crumb of cornbread to get stuck there. And that's what you've been complaining about. And so when you take my program, you learn how to swallow strong. And you kick off strong, and the food can go right down, and you don't have that feeling anymore.
Janet, we've only got a minute left. Give everybody your phone number and your website.
Okay. My phone number is 828-273-9888. I will answer my call. If my phone decides to go straight to voicemail, I will call you back. My websites, I'll give you two. Author, AUTHOR, at IJustWantToSleep.com. I decided everybody could relate to that. I just want to sleep. The other one is www.correctmytonguethrust.com. Email me. I will email you back. We can Zoom, whatever you'd like to do.
Well, we'll see you next week with more Ask the Experts. You can go back and find today's show on YouTube or iHeart. And we'll see you all next week. Thanks, Janet.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.